Okay,
So
so I'm gonna
pins.
demo using the pins package specifically for like how it pertains to using it with RStudio Connect and at University of Arizona. Um, so I'll you
Oh,
gotta
hold
let me
on.
share my screen.
Yep. Okay. You should be able to do
So
that now.
we have access at University of Arizona, right, to this viz.datascience.arizona.edu. That's our RStudio Connect server. And you do need to request access for it. So I have that. So I can log in and I can see different things that people have published, including now as a test, I've published a couple pins. And what those are is they're data sets that you can access. And I'll just show you now from R how that can be useful. So load the pins package. I've already like authenticated with RStudio Connect, but that just involves giving it that URL, that viz.datascience.arizona.edu, and an API key, which you can get from clicking on your name here and clicking API keys. So you have to give it those two things to authenticate. But after you've done that, the first time, if I just do board connect, you see it's connects, it knows where to connect. And then I can write data to that. And so, for
And so that
example,
like connects to basically like all of RStudio Connect, right?
RStudio, yeah,
For
but it knows who
us.
I am. It knows my username because I've put in that API key. So if I go pin write MT cars, then I can go back. Let me switch these spaces up so I don't give everybody motion sickness here. We can go back here to content and we can see now it's there. MT cars is there. It's pinned. And I could actually set the sharing settings to make it available for anybody to view or only people who who I give access to this if I want to. So it could be used for storing some data securely that is going to be accessed by other people or some other document or app you put on RStudio Connect. So now that's available for others that are ready to use. So for example, if I restart R, so now I'm pretending to be a second person, and like Christina, if you wanted to try this, you could also try this and it should work. Board connect. And then actually when I wrote it back here, you see it says writing to pin Eric R. Scott /MT cars. So it has my username in front. So if you want to use it, you have to put the username in there. And there it is. So there's that data set that I saved up to RStudio Connect. So so now like we could have a bunch of collaborators all writing code that references the same data set. And then if I need to update the data set, I can do that. But we can also make it more useful by customizing the storage type. So by default, it's storing these as a .rds file, which is an R-specific format that you can use to store any R object. It doesn't actually have to be a data set. It could be a model output or whatever. But if we use the file type arrow, that is a language independent format that is for data frames. And so now this is something that could be read in by a Python user or something like that. And I have a Python example in a second, which might work, might not. You can use pins with things besides RStudio Connect, or now called Posit Connect. So for example, we can use it for with Box, and we can write things to Box. The usefulness of this, as opposed to just like pointing directly to the file path, not exactly sure. But I know there is also versioning available in pins, so maybe that works well with this. I'm not exactly sure. There's also
How does the so how does using the board folder work with like private Box or Dropbox
I think that
data?
it would also like, so if you were to run this code, like this wouldn't work, right? Because you don't have this path. But if you replace this to your path, to your Dropbox folder,
Oh,
then,
this is a
and if it was a
local.
shared folder that you had access to, like then the code would work.
Okay,
So
so this is a local path on your computer, but to a box drive.
To a box
folder
drive that is shared
that multiple
with
people might have
us.
access for.
Like you have access to this too. This is our CCT box drive.
Okay. And presumably if then
so
the local ones are pointing to the same ones, then same box drive, the changes, it would update. Right? It'd update locally and then it could be updated.
Yeah.
Oh,
so there's not like a special function for Box or Dropbox. Like this is just any folder on your computer. Yeah. You can use it with Box. There is a special function though for Microsoft OneDrive, which I don't have set up, so I can't demo. And then there's also like, you can use Amazon S3 buckets if you are fancy.
So you can't like pull directly from like a Google Drive or Dropbox right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's other, like for Google Drive, there's other packages for that are probably better. I think the most useful way to use this is with RStudio Connect, because then if you write, for example, an R Markdown document that starts with, in fact, we could test this out, that starts with one of these pins, and you publish that to RStudio Connect, it will just like know to, you like don't have to do that authentication step or anything. So yeah, in fact, we could just,
I mean, I'd done that with the API.
Yeah, so we could just have like an R Markdown document here that loads pins, and then it goes board connect.
Yeah, it won't autocomplete because you haven't read it in the library yet. But
empty cars, or like we'll call this something else. DF is board pin read. Eric R. Scott, empty cars, and then we'll just print it. And then we can save that. And then we can publish that to Posit Connect. And we'll go ahead and publish that. Sure, replace the other one I've named Untitled. I've been testing things out a bunch. So that's publishing.
What is going on? Well, that's doing that. What is going on with line 11 with the assignment operator and then that other triangle? Is that the new assignment operator?
I'm using a font with ligatures. So that's the native R pipe. So that's a vertical bar and a right caret, and just the font I'm using when they're next to each other, it combines it into a triangle.
Okay, got it. I'm just not used to looking at that either of those yet. Here's the old pipe. So
yeah, here's what it looks like in a better font. So now this is an RStudio Connect document, or I'm sorry, an R Markdown document published on RStudio Connect, and it's using data from this pin on RStudio Connect, and it just works. Like it connects, it knows what board to connect to because it's the board that it's on, that it's published on. So this is a good way of publishing maybe one data set, and then you have multiple reports or Shiny apps or whatever that you've published that use that data set.
And so if empty cars didn't exist as a pin on the UA RStudio Connect, this would return an error, right?
Yeah, this wouldn't be able to find anything, I assume. Like if I put a typo in here, can't find pin called empty car, right? Yeah. And you can use pin list to see all the available pins. So that's kind of nice. So the other thing I just wanted to demo, so you can pin things besides data frames. So I could pin, a model. So this is an LM, a linear model, and I can write that, and I can read that back in. And so it doesn't have to be a data frame. And if we look at what it looks like here, it pins it. It's called a pinned list, but it's the LM. It's the linear model. And then the last thing that I want to try to demo, I'm really not a Python user, but I think I did get this to work. So we can use the pins package, Python package, and the PyArrow package in Python. And now that pin we saved earlier that was in the arrow format, the mtcars arrow, we can now read that in. Oh, I'll have to delete this key after this because you see it in the recording. But oops, this is where not using, that's gonna not work. Let's try that one more time. Okay. And now we can read this in to Python. And for some reason, reading pins in Python is really slow compared to R, but it does read it in. So this is a potential way for like a data science team where you've got some people working in Python and some people working in R to like collaborate, right? Where you can have some R workflow that, you know, cleans the data up, does the data wrangling, pins it to RStudio Connect, and then you've got a separate Python script that pulls that pin down and does some machine learning model with the data or something like that. Seems like a really, really cool way to collaborate in that way. And this is really cool. I've never worked anywhere that had access to the Posit Connect server, and it's just like I keep discovering cool ways to use it, and yeah, pretty neat, I think.